Montenegro has been in the throes of EU accession for a while, officially since 2008, but recent commentary from that country's president suggests that Montenegro could be the 28th member of the EU by 2028. My name is Angela Scoogens. This is TVP World, and I'm joined here by Montenegro's EU Affairs Minister, Maida Gorčević. She is here to explain whether this date is loftily ambitious or realistic. Hi, Minister.
Well, Angela, it's really a pleasure to be here today with you and to discuss over the Montenegro's EU path. I must say that this is a realistic, really ambition, but strategic approach when it comes to the Montenegro, because we don't have any other alternatives. So Montenegro should and will be the 28th member by the 2028. We don't ask for any shortcuts. We don't ask for any, things that are going we just need a merit-based approach that we can speed up the whole ambitious plan that we are having. So at this moment, I must say that when we are speaking about the Montenegro, even the fact that 12 years we are negotiating this process, I can assure you that last year we were very successful, and after 7 years of not closure any of chapters, we succeeded to close 3 chapters in December. We succeeded to have the first ever E-bar for the Montenegro, and this is very important for the rule of law in chapters 23 and 24. And having a good organized agenda and having a good and ambitious plan for Montenegro is something that at this moment is really significant. So by the end of 2026, our plan is to close all the chapters, and then in 2028 to become the 28th member.
I see. Just going back to those milestones that you hit, Montenegro hit late last year. So according to the Commission's report, Montenegro closed, I believe 3 chapters, but this only represents 6 out of 33. So it's actually not that many, but you mentioned a gap between the process starting and these chapters closing. So what was behind this latest push for Montenegro to be able to close these chapters, and what were they specifically?
New government, a new moment inside the Montenegro, a new political will that decided that this is the main goal, and that's why we have this ambitious agenda. Having in mind that the whole society, actually 80% of our citizens are supportive for the EU path. Having in mind that we are already NATO, that we are already using Euro and 100% aligned with the common foreign security policy is something that is really pushing us. And after 7 years of not closing any of the chapters, the last year, 2024, was the year of the EU integration inside the Montenegro. We are really now trying to keep up this moment because now we are in the final stage. We are now just speaking about the closing of the chapters, no matter how this difficult is, not only for the Montenegro, but I must say also for the European Commission and for the member states, because there is a lot of chapters to be closed and a lot of reforms that should be communicated, not only fulfilled inside the Montenegro, but also to communicate it inside the European Commission and European Union. From our side, I think that the political will inside Montenegro and also the political will in the European Union is pushing us in a good direction. This doesn't mean that the geopolitical situation is the only reason why this window of opportunity when it comes to the enlargement process is open. This is just one side of the coin, but the second side, the other side of the coin is the reforms and results that we are having. So we are not speaking about, we didn't want to find any excuses or to see who was guilty for these delays. We wanted to be more focused on the present and the future, and that's why we are working very hard. This year, our main goal is also to close, at least officially close and provisionally close them, at least 6 chapters by the end of the year, and much more internally to close them. So the next year is going to be a little bit easier for us.
You mentioned political will and geopolitical situations. Geopolitical situations, what are you referring to exactly? Are you talking about the threat of Russia, or what do you mean?
Yes, the Russia aggression on Ukraine was something that woke up the European Union, that enlargement is something that is needed because of the stable and because of the security of the European Union. That's why the enlargement was again on the agenda, even the fact there was some of the times when some of the member states weren't that positive when it comes to the enlargement process. And they were very Eurosceptic. There was also Euroscepticism when it comes to the enlargement and new member states that should should take the place of the 28th member. With this Russian aggression on the Ukraine, we also had this new geopolitical moment inside the European Union, where all the member states saw this also as an opportunity to have stronger and more stable European Union. And if you have also the Western Balkan region, if you also have Ukraine and Moldova and also Georgia inside the European Union, then it will also just make it stronger. That's why the enlargement is on the agenda. And I think that Montenegro is only a proof that enlargement is live. But to be just honest, as I want because of your audience, this is not only just because of the geopolitics. This is just one thing. The second thing is to have results. The second thing is to show that you are living by the European values, to show that you want the rule of law inside your country and that you are prepared. And this is what Montenegro is doing now. We are preparing ourselves and we are preparing our system and our institutions. So tomorrow we are going to be the credible partner, like we are already in the NATO credible, but to be also the credible member of the European Union.
And I mean, I don't think anyone is criticizing the credibility of Montenegro, but we have heard from the Hungarian foreign minister who recently said that Ukraine should not be the next country to join the EU, but it should be a Western Balkan country that's been waiting at least 15 years. But do you think it is a matter of Ukraine versus another country, perhaps Montenegro, to join the EU? Because there seems to be a significant amount of momentum right now, at least for Ukraine to join the EU, but is there more merit for Montenegro to join the EU instead?
We want to see Ukraine inside the European Union. We want to end the war in the Ukraine, and we want peace in Ukraine as well. As the Montenegro, as a front runner and a leader in this process, we want also to share the experience not only with Ukraine, but also with the other candidate countries. And this is also one part of our job, not only to enter the EU, but also to share the expertise with the others and to be build the bridge with the others so we can help them in this process, because this is really not easy. What I think that the Minister of Foreign Affairs wanted to say is we should keep it on merit-based. And I'm certain that our expectations as Montenegro, also as a candidate country who is negotiating more than 12 years, is to keep it merit-based. This is the only way where the candidate countries will stay motivated on this path, because look, this is not easy. The reforms are not easy for the citizens, not easy for the institutions. This is not easy also for the member states to accept some new member, and with all the risk and opportunities that are coming with the new membership of any country. But if you keep it merit-based, then you will keep the motivation among the candidate countries and also not make it as a competition. Even the fact it's always a small competition between the candidate countries. Who is first in closing the chapters? Who is first in getting the payments from the growth plan? Who is first for the SEPA? But those things are good to motivate the candidate countries so we can perform better and so we can have the reforms for the sake of our citizens. So this statement I just see to be pushed as the merit-based, not to against any country. Let's hope so, because if we are seeing this as a merit-based, then it should be for all countries involved. Western Balkans, Ukraine, Moldova, whoever finished the process should be first on the agenda to negotiate and to speak on the political level as well.
Going back to that report from the European Commission late last year regarding the status of Montenegro joining the EU, it highlighted that the EU continues to provide support to your country facing hybrid threats, including cyber and foreign information manipulation and interference. What can you tell me about that exactly?
In Montenegro, a couple of years ago, we had cyber attacks on the whole institutions, and I'm speaking about the government institutions and all the cyber attacks that were happening in our government, parliament, judiciary, on all the digital system. And that was a wake-up call for all of us. So now we are strengthening all these capacities inside the Montenegro. That's why, with the help of European Union, mostly of the France and Slovenia, we opened a cybersecurity center inside the Montenegro, who is going to help not only the Montenegro, but also the whole region when it comes to the hybrid threats, when it comes to the cyber attacks, when it comes to all the other influences that are coming from the third parties and third sides. With every law that we are strengthening our system, with every step forward to the EU, we are aware that those, hybrid threats and those kind of attacks can be just more visible because it's not that in all interests of all other interested parties, not in Montenegro, but in the whole region, is not that Montenegro joins the EU. But from our side, there is 100% dedication that we are going to fulfill all that is asked from our side, and also to strengthen our capacities, to strengthen our institutions, so tomorrow we don't have to have any fear of any manipulations, of any threats coming from the outside of Montenegro. And we are really grateful when it comes to opening of this cyber capacity center in Montenegro, because this is helping also our institutions inside the Montenegro region, and also with the help of the European partners as well.
Is there any fear that these hybrid threats or foreign interference could sway the Montenegro public or stop the EU accession process? Is that a concern for the Montenegro government?
80% of our citizens are seeing Montenegro as a next member of the EU. They are not only seeing, they are hoping. This is everything that we are speaking now in Montenegro. The whole media is speaking, is any law aligned with the EU acquis or not? So everything is dedicated to EU agenda at this moment in Montenegro. We don't have to jeopardize it. We don't have to take this for granted. And we must be aware that everything that we are doing on this path tomorrow, in some political campaigns, in some other campaigns in media that are happening in Montenegro on any topics, someone would want to have some other angle and to speak maybe against the European Union. That's why I said with every step closer, we will have more interference from the other sides. But that doesn't mean that we are going to quit, or that we are going to be distracted by any campaigns that are going to be against main geopolitical and strategic goal of Montenegro. And this is really to become the next member of the EU.
So are you saying that as Montenegro inches towards EU accession, you could see more hybrid attacks attempting to sway public opinion? Is that correct, what I'm hearing?
Yes, this can happen. And this is also that what's happening in some of the other countries during their candidacy and during their process. So this is like agenda that, and this is like type of the things that were happening also in Romania, and Bulgaria, and Croatia. So this can repeat. That's why we don't take this for granted. That's why we are strengthening our institutions. That's why we are very open when we are speaking about all the benefits of the EU membership. And that's why it is also very important for us how we communicate every step and every reform for our citizens. The good thing is also how we can communicate over the growth plan, so they can see and feel of the benefits before we are officially a member state, and also the things that we can already see through some of the regional cooperation. For example, becoming the SEPA. For example, some of the things that already we can see as the benefits of this gradual integration of Montenegro.
I guess we'll have to wait and see as we inch closer to that 2028 deadline to see what is possible and what potentially comes out of the shadows. But thank you so much, Minister, for taking the time to talk to me.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
And thank you so much for watching, but make sure that you stick around as more news, commentary and analysis is coming up. See you next time.